Once I'm to this point, I will usually wrap this switch mechanism in a plastic bag and then close it with some tape, and I will wash the bottom and the top of the switch platform. Usually they're pretty dirty. The next thing I'll do is use alcohol wipes and usually a rotary tool to polish the contact points, such as this one for two-train operation or regular operation, and then all of these contact points. These sometimes are incredibly dirty. I think that A.C. Gilbert actually painted some of these sometimes. That's what they appear to be. But I insist on cleaning them down so that I don't have any contact problems. So I clean the plate, clean and polish the plate here, here, and then these two contacts as well. And of course, this is where those springs are going to come in contact. That's on the link assembly. They'll contact right here. So from this point, it's just washing, drying, no lubrication, checking all connections on the bottom, all the wiring, and I have found a wide variety of disconnected wires on the bottoms of these switches in just about every location. I try to retuck them into any grooves, such as the factory did here. They wrapped it around this post, and then I try to retuck those if they're out of position, check all these to make sure they're not being pinched, and check these to make sure they've got good connections. Oh, by the way, in case I failed to mention it, once I finish working on the bottom and pulling it off, I'm ready to remove the lamp housing. I'm actually going to paint this one because it's apparent from being thrown in the toy boxes or whatever that's got quite a bit of scratches on it, which simply don't match the nice appearance of the platform or the roadbed assembly or the remaining of the switch housing. So I'm going to get that painted. The thing I have to be careful of is I want to make sure, again, that I use the 24-volt bulbs, and I want to make sure that these have the convection, the hole for convection cooling. Now, I've already popped the lens out of these because I'm going to paint it. That's not the lens. That's a little piece of foam that I put into the holes because I don't want to paint in there that makes those any tighter than they already are in order to insert the lens. At this point, I've repositioned the switch mechanism assembly, attached the link mechanism, the link assembly to it, and then dropped it back into place and put in the two corner screws that hold it, tightening those down until they stop. I've also put in the screw that holds the link assembly to the frog. Again, I tighten it until it stops, no further, but I do go all the way until it stops. I used to think these were designed to adjust the height of the frog, but I'm not so sure about that because I didn't see that anywhere in the maintenance. And these screws have a smooth portion to their post, which is designed to match up to this link assembly so that the link assembly doesn't touch the grooves or the threads on the screw. I've also dropped the spring and the plunger into place because I'm going to go ahead and put the small plate back on top because it's at this point I want to start testing a little bit of the movement of the frog. Having replaced the plunger and the spring here, I put the plate back into place so that they'll stay in place. And now I'm ready from both the bottom and the top to test whether or not A, the movement is okay, and B, whether or not the coil will move the frog. Has a good crisp movement, but it's pretty tough, pretty tight, apparently. But that's probably because I got it resting on the other side. I don't lubricate these. I clean the plunger and the spring thoroughly. I look for rust and any other foreign material. I used to move that tab, which is loosened by that screw, but I found that to be counterproductive because it has to be in a particular place. And I'm not so sure what the factory assembly techniques were used to position that. It is critical because that is what is designed to hold the frog in place once it's repositioned and to keep it from trains being able to move it, but yet smooth enough operation that the solenoid or coil can move. Now let's take a look at it from the top. You just hand operate it. Seems to be very crisp, seems to be very strong. There have been times that I've gone up underneath the frog to clean that with some sort of cloth material, again just to remove any foreign substances that may have accumulated over the years there, including, dirt, grit, and anything else. I have also at times put a tiny bit of CRC 226 on that little track right there that you can see, the little marks you can see, to aid its movement. The key is if you lubricate this either from the top or from the bottom too much, then yes, you'll get really nice movement from the controller in moving the frog. But trains will have, I think, a better opportunity to move the frog. And I have had plenty of those, especially, for example, traveling in this direction, it starts putting pressure on this rail of the frog and starts pushing it over, and you get derailment.